Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another edition of Short Review Roundup. This week I will be talking about three things, particularly two TV shows and one film. They're all from Netflix, so you could also call this a Netflix Short Review Roundup. In the order that I am mentioning now, they will also be what I talk about. And if you want to skip ahead to any of them, you can either go to the About section, you'll have the timestamps there, or if you use the bar below at the screen, you can jump ahead as well. The three things we're talking about today are Inventing Anna, which is a TV show, The Adam Project, which was a very, very popular film that came out a short while ago, starring Ryan Reynolds, and then the third thing that we're talking about is Kingdom, which is a South Korean TV show. Let's start with Inventing Anna. I don't know, I think a month ago or so it was released on Netflix. If you're not familiar, it is actually a story about something that happened in real life, and that's what drew me to it, where a woman who was originally from Russia, I suppose you could say, Russia/Germany, she moved to Germany and then to America. She pretends to be a German heiress, so she pretends to be someone who comes from a very wealthy family, and she tries to sort of get her way into New York high society, and we're following this along and also the fallout that happened from it. This is what the show is about. I really enjoy the story. Obviously they're taking some liberties with the actual story. If you're interested, I'm sure you will research the real life story that happened. It's really fascinating to think about that basically one woman, a young woman, so she was in her 20s, she really managed to hoodwink all these really powerful people. You're talking about bankers, brokers, all sorts, lawyers. You're talking about real, people who deal with a lot of money and a lot of really serious stuff in the business world. And she managed to trick them all, and nearly even got away with it, seemingly, with getting a lot of money to make her own. She wanted to do a sort of social club, artsy thing, something along those lines, and she nearly managed to do that. What I like about this TV show is not just all those aspects, and is my understanding that the actress who plays her based it a lot on what she was like, what Anna is like in real life. She's not really a very likable person, so she's the kind of person you love to hate, because she talks down to people, as if she were high society, and even then, that doesn't justify you doing that, but she's really snobbish and all these things. So, it's one of these characters you love to watch because you don't like them. So she does a great job, but we also see the story from a different perspective because we are following a journalist along while she's investigating this whole thing. So she's trying to unpack the whole story from years ago, how it develops, etc., and tries to find out who Anna is. And it's great. Obviously she's a substitute for us, she's supposed to be us, and we're following her along. But I like that they did it this way because it gives the whole thing a really linear progression, and it's a lot more fun, I believe, than if they had shown it, just us following Anna along and the whole thing. I really enjoy that take, and just overall I find it very interesting. They could have maybe made it 1 or 2 episodes short, but it's not overly long. It's 8 or 9 episodes, I believe. The whole thing is very enjoyable. Like I say, I was just fascinated because it is kind of exciting to watch all these things unfold, and I'm not someone who is in high society, so it was also interesting to just kind of have that experience for a short amount of time. Next we've got The Adam Project. It's a film that came out, it's a sort of hybrid, I suppose you call it. It's a kind of Back to the Future-esque story. That's at least what a lot of people mentioned while talking about it. It stars Ryan Reynolds, we've got Zoe Saldana in it as well, we have also got Mark Ruffalo in it, and the story in short is about a little boy, and he encounters his future self, and they're trying to save the world because time travel will ultimately doom it. That's the basic gist of it. What I like about this film is actually it was a lot better than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be rather bad because with Ryan Reynolds I still have Red Notice in my head, which I have talked about in a previous roundup, which was the most generic film I think I've ever seen, so I was a bit wary of that, and I was very delighted to see that. It's a lot better than you expect, while you do have some of his typical quips, and I do wish that he would try to sort of get out of that, the sort of, typecast anyway. The humour overall is kind of okay. The plot was okay too. A lot of it was kind of predictable, and I wasn't really a big fan of how it was resolved. But for it also being a nearly generic tale, I will say. It was fine, it was fine. I particularly like that they don't make a big complex thing about time travel. That can happen rather easily, so we don't get bogged down in, you know, sciencey stuff and all that, them trying to explain it all in a complicated way. It's just like, you know, there's time travel, we're here, we're just trying to do something about it, and off we go. I really like that, and you know, there it's kind of the sort of the Back to the Future-esque things. I like the dynamic between the characters, I really enjoy that. Mark Ruffalo, he actually plays the father, so we end up journeying with the young version, the older version, and the father of the boys, I'll call it. And that dynamic I really enjoyed, so they all work really well together. It's just a very fun thing, you know, not think about it too much. There are some silly things in there that really don't improve the film and actually make it a bit bad, but it's just overall a very enjoyable film. If you want that kind of thing, popcorny, Saturday evening, perfect for that. And then last we have Kingdom. I did actually talk about this previously when I talked about All of Us Are Dead. So this is again a Netflix show that is from South Korea. As you know, I have recently really taken a liking to these, and this is, as last time as All of Us Are Dead, this is also a zombie show. But the interesting thing here is, and that's what I really like about it, is the setting, because we're not in modern times like you usually are in a zombie film. Here we are in middle-age Korea. I'm not quite sure which century it's supposed to be, 16th maybe, something like that. I am not entirely sure, but that is what is really interesting here. And it's also a rather short series, so I was quite surprised. Each series, there are two, is only 6 episodes long. There is also a film that has sort of got a side story that shows us the origins of this zombie virus, which is quite good. You feel like they're building a nice world, and they are continuing, and I'm really excited to see where it goes, because I feel like they make a lot of use of the short season runtime that they have. It feels very much like a Game of Thrones light, and I don't mean it in the sense of that, you know, it's not as good or anything like it. I just feel like they don't have too much politics going on, and the scale of it isn't that massive. But we have a similar situation where our main character is actually the Crown Prince, and he is being ousted by the Queen. You know, she's actually younger than him. You know, she's sort of come in from this powerful clan, and they're trying to get rid of the Crown Prince, and we're following him along. He is trying to not only save his place in the kingdom, but he's also trying to find out where this zombie virus comes from. And that's what we basically follow here. That's the story. So you have got this sort of, you know, the Game of Thrones happening as well. But again, there aren't too many characters in it, and so it's rather simple to follow, but still good because the characters are great. And we've got the zombie stuff, and I really like it because that is also rather unique. When we see zombie stuff, it's usually about the human stories, etc. But here we see actual battles with zombies, which is rather fresh, and it's also exciting to see how we would medieval people deal with zombies, also in a combative sense. So I rather enjoy that from the strategic point of view. I also like the zombies. They are the fast running type. We have an explanation for how they come about. It's a rather unique approach. I really like that. So it isn't out there. It's not fantastical at all. Really, it's quite interesting. I won't spoil it for you. You'll have to find it out yourself. We also have some unique elements to them. So we are introduced to things that we're not used to from zombie things, and that's what I enjoy about these Korean shows. They take things that we are very used to, but they try to add things to them to make them interesting, you know, fresh, unique. So you also have very likable characters. The setting is wonderful as well. So yes, if you're looking for a zombie show, because I mean there are a lot out there, and I get that many people are sick of it, but if you're the kind of person who is starting to get sick of it, but you would like it to be, you know, your love for it to be renewed by a fresh take, then I think that Kingdom is definitely something you should have a look at. One honourable mention at the very end, I didn't include it in the title or anything because I just really wanted to address it briefly. I also enjoy Netflix for the various documentaries you have there. I must say I am a sucker for sort of true crime and these kind of things. One thing I've recently watched is the new documentary on Netflix, which is about Jimmy Savile. It's called A British Horror Story. I believe that's the subtitle of it. And just to give context, if you don't know who Jimmy Savile was, He was a DJ on radio throughout the 60s and 70s particularly, and he just became a TV presenter. So he was a person everyone in Britain knew. He was really famous, you know, anywhere he went, people knew him. And he was a very liked person, and unfortunately it was revealed, not until he died actually, that he, over the decades, had molested hundreds of children and teenagers. It's a really horrible story. It is really horrifying, you know, it's really terrible, and this documentary delves into that. It just shows that the people we have in public, you know, we let them get so powerful that they can intimidate people into just accepting all sorts. Because when you look at it in detail, and this is what this documentary really brings to light a lot, you see all the creepiness over the decades, the comments he makes just on television, the things that he said, you know, it's like, why did no one look into this guy sooner? Anyway, that's an honourable mention. If you like documentaries that are a bit very unsettling and difficult to watch, then that is a high recommendation from me as well. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It's the best way to support this channel. Leave in the comments down below anything you have to say about any of these three TV shows and the film, etc., or the documentary, you know, any of that down in the comments below. If you have any other suggestions for things I should watch, please share them as well. I'll thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video on Flying Wiener. Take care. Bye.